All right, everybody. Hello and welcome. Good evening to you. Happy Saturday. Today is Saturday, July 24th, 2021. And you are now watching a deeper PTE. I'm your host, PTE, also known as Permission to Exist. And this is the channel where we come to discuss those things that would get the big house in trouble. So, because I don't want to get the big house in trouble and the stakes are a little lower over here, I'm able to just discuss those topics that, baby Algo really doesn't like. And also, to be honest, that a lot of my viewers really don't like, which I find unfair because y'all follow some of the most far out people on YouTube who go way deeper than I do. And that's totally acceptable. But for some reason, I'm not allowed to be that person on my main channel, which is fine. I've accepted it, sticking primarily to narcissism on that channel. And over here is where we have all the fun. Okay. So, welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is so good to have you. I actually meant to do this last weekend, but here we are, right? We're going to focus on the here and now and focus on the present. Okay. So, this show is two parts tonight. They are totally unrelated. I like to make connections a lot. There are no connections to be made on this particular evening. They're just two different topics I really wanted to talk about with you guys. So, we're going to do that. So, I'll probably spend about 30 minutes on the first one, 30 minutes on the second one, then we'll get out of here. Unless we get tangled up in a rabbit hole and end up end up somewhere we didn't expect. Okay. So I'm actually going to start with the Surfside topic first. Okay. So I kind of wanted to follow up from the last show and welcome everybody in the chat as you fill in. I wanted to follow up from the last show that we did on this channel. So a few weeks have passed, and I think it's sufficient to say that it wasn't aliens. Okay. I don't think aliens dropped the building. I told you guys I'm rooted in reality. After much investigation and much research by the actual experts and their different analyses and things like that, yeah, I don't think aliens did it this time, you guys, but I'm going to hold that door open for this time. Yeah, okay. It really does appear like the pool deck failed catastrophically, and in that failure, it just brought the whole building down. And I also finally understood what I was trying to say to you guys last time when I was like, is physics all that was holding the building up? And then I got tangled up in my own explanation of what I was trying to say. But I think I understand finally what I was trying to say, which was, wow, it was solely relying on physics, meaning like it wasn't anchored to anything else. So literally, it had to stand on those columns or it would fall. So, in other words, I think what was blowing my mind is that all it took was for those columns to get taken out for the building to fall. In my expectations, there's redundancies built in that if two columns get taken out, the weight is distributed in such a way to where the building won't fall like right away. Like it will give you at least like 24 hours to get everyone evacuated. Do you see what I mean? Not as soon as you lose the legs, it falls. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I didn't like the fact that it was so reliant on those legs and those legs only. Right. So, anyway, the first thing, so I wanted to debunk that. I wanted to debunk myself. It wasn't aliens this time, unfortunately, but I got my eyes open. I wanted to show you first this really excellent simulation that somebody did. Really, really well done. Again, if you're single, like you're the type of person I feel like I need to be married to, the type of person who can make these types of things. I think that's my husband. My husband would be able to make something like this. So, who is this? Kostak Studio? Kostak? Kostak? If you're single, hit me up. Permission to exist at gmail.com. I think we could vibe. So, anyway, I'm going to show you the simulation first because I just think it's so good. And then I wanted to share with you the story that I was telling you guys about on the news break yesterday, where I said that there are some people who are like desperate to rebuild in this spot, and they were saying like it's beachfront property once in a lifetime. I finally found the article. So we're going to go over that and just kind of chat through like the conspiracy behind that. So that's why I'm doing that on this channel and not permission to exist, because a lot of people said that this building was dropped on purpose because they didn't want to pay the repairs, which were upwards in the millions of dollars, millions. So it was dropped on purpose just to be rebuilt so they didn't have to deal with the repairs. And of course, no one wants to believe that was true or would be true. But after we look at this article, it gives a lot of credence to that theory, okay? So let's look at this simulation, and I want to do a trigger warning. This person put in animations of the people at the very end. I think I think it satisfies my morbid curiosity, but a lot of people didn't like that. They felt like it was in poor taste, but I think a lot of people just kind of wanted to know like what would that even like look like? So it's not graphic. They're animated like little characters. They're not real looking people. No blood, nothing like that. Nothing scary, but it just kind of shows you where they all would have ended up. Okay. So here we go. I'm excited. I'm going to leave it on mute, although the real video actually has some really good music playing in the background. Okay. So I'm actually going to mute myself so you don't hear all this background in my background, and I'm just going to play the video. So I'll be back in a second. Okay. It's about 4 minutes long. Okay, so I'm back. I apologize for the silence. I just didn't want to get knocked on copyright, okay? And again, once again, what I'm proposing is marriage. Marriage. I'm proposing marriage to the person that can create this type of stuff. Like, I just feel like you have to be very, 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 very smart. And the way your mind works, like, I need that in my life. You know what I'm saying? So marriage is what I'm offering. We can chat through the details or whatever, okay? So I thought this was very good. Here, I'll just drop it in the chat if you're interested in watching again on your own. So pretty satisfied that, it's the pool deck that did it or whatever. But again, that's very disturbing because that means the pool deck is all that was holding it up. That's all that was holding it up. Like, I don't like that. Like, I need, like, support all throughout, you know what I mean? Like, I thought, like, they were all holding hands, you know what I mean? Like, I thought the buildings were, like, attached to each other more than that, more than the full weight being on the pool deck, and some people are saying the planters took this deck out. The planters that had all the flowers and all that, some people said that's what took it out. So anyway, I thought you all would find that very interesting. I thought you would want to see that. It is very disturbing, but it really gives you a good idea of what happened. So now that we've seen that, I want to read this article I was telling you guys about yesterday on the news break. Okay. So the title of the article is "Why Can't We Rebuild? Some Surfside Condo Owners Tell the Judge They Want to Stay at the Property," right? So here's some of the people. And this is Marcelo Pena, an owner of a unit at the collapse Champlain Tower South, speaks in favor of rebuilding during a Miami-Dade Circuit Court hearing on Wednesday, July 21st. Okay. So they want to live there again. Okay. And I'll give my thoughts here in a second, but let's read through this really quick. So it says Yadira Santos, who survived the Surfside condo collapse along with her 8-year-old son, stood at the courtroom podium overcome with emotion. Many of her neighbors and friends perished in the collapse of Champlain Towers South. So did her condo unit, which she worked for years to pay off. I had worked my whole life. I worked hard for what I was able to accomplish. Why can't we rebuild where we called home? Santos is part of a group of condo owners that's now publicly advocating for working with a developer to rebuild Champlain Tower South on the beachside Collins Avenue site. But as with condo unit owners anywhere in South Florida, consensus is hard to come by, even in the wake of unprecedented tragedy. Reza Rodriguez, who escaped alongside Santos early on June 24th, does not want to rebuild. Speaking via Zoom, Rodriguez told the court Wednesday that she remains haunted by the memories of that night, including an unseen woman crying for help from the rubble. I personally could never live in a building there. That is a grave site. The survivors aired their views Wednesday as part of a hearing for the slew of lawsuits filed in the collapse of Champlain Tower South, which killed nearly 100 people and one of the deadliest building failures in U.S. history. Miami-Dade Circuit Judge Michael Hansman, who is presiding over the cases, has been pushing for the sale of the property to compensate victims and relatives of the dead. The property, which could fetch over $100 million in the open market, is nowhere close to being sold. The Miami-Dade Police Department technically has custody of the site, which has largely been cleared of the millions of pounds of concrete and metal that collapsed. Federal scientists tasked with determining the cause of the collapse are still poring over the site, and a grand jury is also exploring the issue of building safety associated with the high rise building. Still, talk of the sale has sparked backlash from some relatives and survivors who feel the site should be turned into a memorial park or left undeveloped instead of the site of a modern condo build on hallowed ground. High profile Miami business executive Rodney Barreto, and lawyer Manny Cadre have already been in talks with Florida's governor, as well as federal and county leaders, about the possibility of using government funds to buy the property to turn into a memorial. We are balancing the desire to get funds quickly and to honor the memories of the people who have been injured and who have perished there. Hansman has left open the possibility of a memorial, but insisted he wants fair market value to compensate victims, some of whom lost their homes and possessions, others who lost their lives. Quote, victims are not going to donate their real estate to the public, end quote, Hansman said. Hansman seemed less optimistic about the possibility of rebuilding. On Wednesday, condo owner Orrin Citterbaum said a small group of owners had spoken with some developers about the possibility of rebuilding. Quote, there is a method where owners who want to stay can get units. Owners who want to get paid out, as if a traditional land sale will get paid out, Citronbaum said. A developer will make profits, and on top of it, a share of profits will go to a victims fund. End quote. Citronbaum was joined in court by Santos and unit owners Paolo Longobardi and Marcelo Pena, all who spoke out in court and favored rebuilding. Hansman said he's open to the possibility, but he also called himself a pragmatist and worried that it could be a gamble to find developers who have financing and patience as victims wait for compensation. I can't wait 8 years and hope that the real estate market is still strong and some developer gives me more of an upside, Hansman said. Citronbaum, a lawyer himself, said he believes the possibility should at least be explored. He agreed to act as a spokesman of sorts for unit owners. After court, he declined to say how many unit owners favor rebuilding, but acknowledged it'll be tough to get everyone on the same page. On his phone, he flashed a group chat with homeowners with messages that had streamed in during the hearing, which was broadcast on Zoom. I stand with Orrin, some said. Others said he didn't speak for them. No one is saying I speak on everyone's behalf, he said. Okay, and that's the whole article. So, God, where's the part? I know where it is. I have it too. It's a video where they mention the beachfront property. And I think that's very important to me because it shows where your mind is at. It kind of shows what's important to you after something this tragic has taken place. Here, let me pull this up. Let me get this on the other side really quick. 1 second. Let me just drag this over here. And we're going to watch this video really quick and risk the copyright because it's for science. Truly. All right, let's see. Okay. So.
The silver side of Surfside. As you can see from Sky 10, the mountain of rubble left after the condo collapse is now gone after rescue teams cleared out most of it. 97 people were recovered from the rubble on the June 24th tragedy. All but 2 of those victims have been identified. Meanwhile, another hearing is underway over the sale of the site. And local 10 News reporter Madeline Wright is live from Miami with what's happening in court there. Madeline?
Christine Janice, the hearing was about 2 hours long, and for the first time, we're hearing directly from condo owners themselves about how they want the land to be used. Take a look at this video. Several condo owners stood before the judge this morning to convince him to let developers build a new condo building on the site of Champlain Tower South because they want to keep living there. Condo owners, however, are divided on what to do with the land, which is worth an estimated $100 million. Some want a memorial on the site to honor the victims. Others say the 2 options are not mutually exclusive, that you can have a new condo building there and a memorial. Right now, the judge is strongly considering having the land sold so that the money can be used to pay compensation to the survivors who lost their homes, as well as family members of people who were killed or injured. Orrin Citronbaum bought a condo unit at Champlain Tower South years ago because it was spacious and right on the ocean.
It's an opportunity to live in an area like that doesn't come around very often. And to replace it now, for a lot of these owners, will be almost mission impossible considering that where home prices are, especially beachfront property. I mean, that was taken away from a lot of people, and that's why a lot of people feel they would like their home back.
There it is. Let's
Prices
run
that
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 back
does
real quick.
Bought a condo unit at Champlain Tower South years ago because it was spacious and right on the ocean.
It's an opportunity to live in an area like that doesn't come around very often. And to replace it now, for a lot of these owners, will be almost mission impossible considering that where home prices are, especially beachfront property. I mean, that was taken away from a lot of people, and that's why a lot of people feel they would like their home back.
Bingo, bingo, bango. Got it. Okay, so this is what I've been searching for this whole time. I thought it was in that article, but it wasn't quite. So, what he's saying, this guy, is that people have lost the opportunity to live on beachfront property and that was taken away from a lot of people. Now, it's not that that's not a true or factual statement. It's both true and it's both factual. However, almost 100 of your neighbors and their pets, some of them, just tragically, and their kids, just tragically died. You were lucky to make it out alive yourself. And the only thing you can think about right now is the fact that you're missing out on beachfront property and that was taken away from you. Pay attention. Let's one more time.
Or injured. Oren Citronbaum bought a condo unit at Champlain Tower South years ago because it was spacious and right on the ocean.
It's an opportunity to live in an area like that doesn't come around very often. And to replace it now, for a lot of these owners, will be almost mission impossible considering that where home prices are, especially beachfront property. I mean, that was taken away from a lot of people, and that's why a lot of people feel they would like their home back.
So he's saying that where home prices are right now, especially beachfront property, I mean, that's going to be tough to replace even with the settlements they're getting. And it's kind of like, I don't want to pass too much judgment, you guys, because I can't imagine what it would be like to like have your dream be a beachfront condo. You actually get the job or the career that allows you to afford it. You get your beachfront condo, you work hard and you pay it off, and then it's just suddenly gone. I cannot imagine how devastating mentally and emotionally that is. But to me, and this is just me speaking from my experience, which is limited because I did not go through what they went through, I would just be so grateful to have my life that the whole beachfront thing would be neither here nor there for me. Do you see what I mean? Like, it would be like, can I just have a home on the ground, please? Just give me like a 4 or 5 bedroom home. Yes, I need that many rooms, couple of bathrooms. I really only need one bathroom, but one for me, one for guests. That's all I really need. But 4 or 5 bedrooms, yes. Single level on the ground. Just give me that. Just give me somewhere to live that's safe neighborhood, and let me recover from the mental and emotional devastation of this event. I wouldn't be thinking about home prices and trying to resecure my beachfront property. So the fact that some of you are gives a lot of weight and a lot of credence to the theory that this building was dropped on purpose. A lot of people said it looked like that building got demoed. Lots of people said that. But, based on what the evidence is producing so far, it really does look like the parking deck failed. But here's what else I've noticed. A lot of condos are getting evacuated all over the place, right? Which, on the one hand, if they truly are being evacuated for safety, kudos, because that's what it should have been happening a long time ago. If this whole thing really is a failure of safety and maintenance, well, then Surfside should have been evacuated years ago, right? But it makes me wonder, and again, we're on a deeper PTE, so we're just speculating over here. If this is some big property grab, like, okay, we want these properties back. Want them back. So let's cause a catastrophe at one And then we can kind of gently snatch up all these other ones and just kind of pay them out and get the property back. That's just a theory. But to keep it more focused here on Surfside, like that is sketchy to me, man. That's sketchy because a lot of the people who died in this incident were older. A lot of the older residents died. Let me see if I can get a complete list with ages. One second. And welcome to everybody in the chat. It's good to have you. Happy Saturday, if it's still Saturday where you are. Complete list of Surfside victims with ages. Oh, perfect. Oh, perfect. Man, if I had thought to do this ahead of time, I would have added all these ages up and then averaged them. So I could tell you the average, okay? But I'm not going to read the names. I'm just going to run down the ages really quick. 66, 68, 50, 26, 85, 69, 48, 80, 74, 56, 58, 54, 67, 4, 10, 52, 21, 55, 52, 76, 83, 79, 54, 80, 46, 92, 42, 81, 36, 58, 3, 36, 36, 42, 36, 21, and 80. And I don't think this is a complete list. But you see how it looks like a good number of them were up there. So, like, my mind has gone to the worst place with this in terms of I mean, I guess I'll just say it, might as well. We're here, but it almost seems like the plan was whoever planned it, if let me throw a big if in there. If this was all orchestrated, it's almost like just make sure you're not home on the 24th. Make sure you're not there. Just, make sure you're out of town on vacation. Make sure you're anywhere else but there that night. I mean, I feel like worse things in history have been done before. Like, we're talking about greed and money and real estate and property and all that. So, I mean, worse atrocities have been committed on this land. But it just, I don't know, that something about this just doesn't sit right with me, you guys. I'm going to drop it in the chat because I know I won't be able to find it again, I don't think. So when I watch playback, it'll always be there. But I mean, even his face looks like he's lying. Doesn't he have that lion ass mouth? I don't know. I'm gonna play it one more time. Uh-oh.
Home price like that.
Bomb bought a condo unit at Champlain Tower South years ago because it was spacious and right on the ocean.
It's an opportunity to live in an area like that doesn't come around very often. And to replace it now, for a lot of these owners, will be almost mission impossible considering that where home prices are, especially beachfront property. I mean, that was taken away from a lot of people. And that's why a lot of people feel they would like their home back.
And again, it's so hard to judge that, because home is home. Like, I get that home is home and they may not want to live somewhere else. I get that. But this part, this is not sitting right with me. It really, it does kind of have a smirk. It is a little bit of a smirk, right? I'm not imagining that, right?
Home price like that doesn't come around very often. And to replace it.
And he owned a unit there. Let me take these closed captions off. See? Owned condo at Champlain Tower South. Like, he doesn't seem particularly devastated or like shocked. I feel like we're more shocked at what has taken place here than he is. Like, literally, this is the first place that I'm sure it's not the first place their mind went. I mean, I'm sure this is the natural next step in the thought process. Like, well, okay, now where do we live, right? And to me, many of these people are getting ready to become millionaires, not multimillionaires, but they probably will walk away when all is said and done. They'll probably at least walk away with like $1.2 million each, at least per family, right? Per family, probably like $1.2 million. And while that's not a lot when you've gone through something like this, it's enough to go buy a house outright. It's enough to like go purchase a home, like a $250,000 or $300,000 home outright. Multiple bedrooms, nice neighborhood. Sorry, my voice is suddenly giving out on me. It's enough money to go purchase a home outright. A nice one too, in a nice neighborhood. Probably not beachfront, no, but a nice one, especially if they had their own homeowners insurance, because I imagine their own homeowners insurance has to pay out something too, probably policy limits. You know what I mean? So they're not going to walk away broke. But it seems to me like the most important thing to them is that they retain their beachfront property and their beachfront condo. And if that's the most important thing to you, that raises eyebrows for me. So that's all I'm saying. Yeah, there's a jolliness there. Uh-huh. I don't know. Something about it is not sitting right with me. So I do think that this is going to turn into a major legal event because that looks so weird, you guys. That looks crazy. Half of your condo building fell and you pushed some developers to rebuild it real quick and then you moved right back in. That's weird, bro. I'm sorry. That's weird. That sounds like a great way to avoid $15 million worth of maintenance and have somebody else pay for the rebuilding of the property. That's what it sounds like to me. But what do I know? I'm just speculating. You guys, that's all. I'm just speculating. But I did want to bring that to you because I had mentioned it and I wanted to make sure that you saw it, okay? So let me get rearranged here so I can bring up the second part of the show. Welcome to everyone who has joined us. It's great to have you. And happy Saturday to you. Okay, so let me close that. All right. So we are switching gears a little bit now. So again, this show is two parts. That was part one, just kind of talking about Surfside, showing you that simulation because it was really cool, and bringing to you these murmurings, not of, hey, we just want to live in our same neighborhood. We just really loved it here. But, I really don't want to lose my beachfront property. And, with home prices the way that they are, I'll never be able to replace that. Like, I don't know, not sitting right with me. So keep an eye on that. Now, let's switch gears into something a little bit more like exploratory and far out and kind of, well, the first part is what this channel is intended for also, but I think this is more kind of what this channel is about, which is kind of exploring weird connections and things like that. So I mentioned on, I believe it was either the People of the Lie review or the News Break, I'm not sure, that I had come across a video regarding vibrations and synchronicity and things like that, right? So I want to share that with you because I have an interesting theory as it relates to a couple of other things and this. So what we're going to do is watch the clip. I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that we're allowed to show it. But I'm going to watch the clip. And if worst case scenario, if I get dinged, no, I can't clip it out because then I lose the live chat. YouTube, you have got to fix that. YouTube lets us clip videos. So like we can clip out copyrighted content and things like that. But when we do that to a live stream, we lose the live chat. So this is just risking it all or whatever. We're going to watch about 4 minutes of this video clip. And then we're going to talk through some of the theories that I have regarding it. Okay. So again, this relates to vibrations and synchronicity and things like that. Okay. So here we go.
In 1656, famous Dutch physicist Christian Huygens.
Hold up. Sorry. I got it going super fast And I got it going a little bit too loud. All right, let's try that again.
To understand it, we have to go back 350 years.
Hold on. Good idea. Hold on. I'm going to put a little rain in the background. Thanks, Rebound. Let's see here. But then won't the rain sounds be copyrighted too? Rain. Actually, you know what? I have a white noise machine. Haha. Brilliant. Hold on. Pause. Actually, I have a fan sitting right here next to me, but I'm not going to do the fan. I hope this works. And if it's too obnoxious, you guys, I'm gonna leave it on the lowest setting. But if it gets too obnoxious, just let me know and I'll risk it all. Okay. All right, so it's on the lowest setting right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the video and hope for the best. Y'all let me know in the chat, okay? All right, let me back it up just one.
For heavy pedestrian traffic, handle this. Well, to understand it, we have to go back 350 years.
Uh-oh.
In 1656, famous Dutch physicist Christian Huygens created the first working pendulum clock. The goal was to help sailors figure out where they were on the globe. Latitude can be judged by measuring the position of the sun or stars, but for longitude, you also need to know the time at some fixed location, say your home port. But clocks at the time were routinely out by around 15 minutes a day, so they were effectively useless. Huygens' pendulum clocks, by contrast, were accurate to around 10 to 15 seconds per day. Huygens' plan was to attach his clocks to a heavy hanging mass on the ship, so they wouldn't get tossed around by the rolling seas. His plan called for 2 clocks in case one stopped or was damaged. But testing out this arrangement while at home sick in February 1665, he made a remarkable discovery. 2 of his clocks hung from a wood beam across some chairs. Watching the pendulums sway back and forth for hours, he noticed after half an hour or so, they would spontaneously synchronize. As one clock swung one way, the second would swing the other way. As one would tick, the other would talk. So he tried disturbing the clocks. He set them ticking out of sync, but again, within 30 minutes or so, they were back to the same lockstep. Huygens thought this strange sympathy of clocks must have been caused by air currents between the pendulums, so he placed a large board in between them. But their clocks continued to sync up. It wasn't the air currents. When he separated the clocks, the synchrony would disappear, their times drifting apart. But when he brought them back together, the synchrony returned. Huygens realized the 2 clocks were synchronizing because they were hung from the same wood beam. It transferred mechanical vibrations from one clock to the other, making the 2 oscillators coupled. Huygens was the first to observe this kind of spontaneous synchronization in inanimate objects, and although he qualitatively described what was happening, it was only a few decades ago that scientists started fleshing out a rigorous theory of synchronization. You may have seen this demo where you put several metronomes on a light, wobbly platform and start them out of sync. It's trickier than people make it look. When you do get it to work, though, it's kind of magical. These metronomes don't have exactly the same natural frequency, and yet they still beat in time. To understand how this works, it's easiest to first consider a couple metronomes oscillating in sync with each other. When the large masses accelerate to the left, they push the platform to the right. And when they accelerate to the right, they push the platform to the left. So the center of mass of the system always stays roughly in the same spot. Now, if you start another metronome completely out of sync with the first two, the motion of the platform gives it a kick every half swing, speeding it up until it's in time with the first two. This works regardless of the number of metronomes you have. The platform just goes whichever way the majority of metronomes are pushing it. We can represent the position of a metronome pendulum or any other oscillator as...
Okay, so just as a brief recap, basically what he's saying is this inventor or this clock maker in the past discovered that for whatever reason, like his clocks would start to sync up, you know, the longer they sat next to each other, basically. And he determined it's because they were hanging from the same wood plank. Okay. So same principle here with the metronomes, because they're on the same board, they eventually get into lockstep with each other. Okay. So when I saw that, I don't even think I finished the video because I was so blown away by, believe it or not, the connection of the board connection. So the wood plank that they're hanging from, because what it made me start to think of multiple different things, but it made me start to think primarily that the people or the persons that you hang around the most, meaning the people who you share the same ground with, eventually it's possible, based on this theory, that you start to take on each other's characteristics and you start to become more and more like each other each day because you are literally sharing the same ground and basically the same vibration on that ground. So then it made me wonder if over time you can start to become like pretty much anything if you just either sit next to it long enough or share the same ground that it does, right? So then that got me to thinking about things like cities where we see a lot of violence and it's hard to explain the violence. And we can't quite put a finger on why this particular city is so violent. It's because they share the same ground, you guys. They're rocking together. And it's like over time, if you don't get out of it, if you don't get away from the vibration and away from the synergy, you start to synchronize with it. Yeah, I know. I see the chat. Like, I feel exactly the same way. Like, this blew my mind. And I know some people will go, well, you know, birds of a feather flock together, but I think it gives it more reason and like understanding as to why that is. It seems that pretty much anything starts to sync up with whatever, either whatever it's next to or whatever ground that they share, you see? So to me, like this literally has my mind going all over the place. Okay. So to me, it would explain why some people who vibrate at different energy or a different energy, perhaps from their family of origin, they have to get away from them because number one, because their energies don't match. But number two, it's probably very uncomfortable for them to keep trying to vibrate down to their level when really they vibrate at a higher frequency. So to me, in my mind, it's probably hard to scale down your frequency in order to match a lower frequency. In my mind, and this could be scientifically true, I'm not sure, but in my mind, it's easier to go to a higher frequency than it is to go to a low one. I don't know. I could be 100% wrong about that. It could be the complete opposite. But this is why we have to get away from certain people. And we already say this in a way when we say, I don't like their vibe, I don't like their energy, or I don't match their energy. We already kind of say this, but to me, this gave it more meaning and understanding. Yeah, it's uncomfortable for both parties. Exactly. It's like, and then when you're sharing that same ground with them, it gets even worse because they're trying to, and this made me think of like the workplace and corporate. And when we're all in the same building, the reason these narcissists are freaking out right now and so desperate to get you back in that building is because you are out of their vibration now. You have completely rocked out of their vibration and they know it. Even if they don't have the words to express it in that way, you have rocked out of sync. You are no longer in sync with them. So you're more like, let's see, let's go here. Where does he mess it up? Didn't he mess it up at one point on purpose? Let's see. Yeah, I think it comes right here. You're more like this one on the far right. So the two on the far left is corporate and the corporate workspace and the corporate workflow, right? The longer you stay out of it, the more you're like the one on the right. But the longer you go back to doing it every single day, same building, same workplace, same coworkers, same desk, this is what you become right here. Right there. It's a rocking. It's like you just start to sync up with the things that are near you. And but it's more than being near you. You seem to have to share something. Something has to be shared. It's like a shared surface of some kind, shared floor, shared building where all of our feet are touching the same floor. It could be argued even that our hands are touching the doorknobs that are all connected. Do you see what I mean? But something has to be shared in order for the synchronicity to occur. Otherwise, it cannot happen. Okay? Like, is this making sense, you guys? Like, this blew my mind when I saw it. I was like, I cannot wait to talk to them about this. Because to me, it explains so much. And it also explains why people start to get zombified at corporate after a while, because literally your uniqueness, the thing that made you unique back here, the thing that made you rock out of step. Here we go. 527 is where he does it. Okay. This is corporate to the left or any other cult type situation. Your uniqueness is right now. You see how they're out of step? But the longer you stay with them, stay close to them, share the surfaces, share whatever, are connected, the more you start to become more and more and more like them. Now, we could see this in other ways also. A lot of people say that people start to look like their pets. I personally think it's true. But what if this is kind of why, though? See, this is what you become at corporate right here. Pause it, PTE, pause it, pause it, pause it. Boom. That's you at corporate. This is you on corporate right here. This is pre-COVID. This is back when everyone was going to the office every day. Everyone had a commute every single day. This is who you were. And you are no longer this. All these metronomes are now moving to a different beat, and they are trying to figure out how to get you back on this same beat. Okay. But back to the point that I was making, which is people say that you start to look like your pets. What if that's a vibrational thing? You know what I mean? People say that spouses who've been together for many, many years start to look like each other and act like each other and talk. Vibrations, same house, same floor, same walls. It's a rocking, right? And we've even talked about on my other channel how narcissists seem to want to repeat the same day over and over and over and over again. And I believe this is why, because the more repetition that you can insert, the more you produce this. I wish they had left that clip in there longer, man. I need that clip to be like 20 or 30 seconds long. But the more, here, I'll just slow it down. So at least we can drag it out some. Yes, we'll drag it out. The more repetition that you are presented with, and the more you're asked to do the same thing every day, the more it turns into this right here. And it seems to be a natural phenomenon. It seems to be something that just happens, right? This is how I think at least partially how hypnosis occurs. The repetition eventually just rocks you into hypnosis. It does. So, another area that this made me think of is, I'm going to pause it here, the law of attraction, right? So, they say that for the law of attraction to work, you have to pretend like what you want is already here. So, if there's some new jacket that you've been looking at online, you have to picture yourself in it. You have to pretend that you're wearing it. You have to pretend like you're smelling it and you already can smell the smell in your nose. You have to pretend like you're taking care of it, pretend like you're hanging it up on a hanger and all of that. So, that's what they say with the law of attraction, how to do that. And there's obviously, it goes deeper than that. I'm doing high level. But when I saw this, it made me think that perhaps it's less about pretending like you already have it and more about finding that particular thing's vibration and trying to vibrate there. So some would say that that's the emotion, like you have to feel like you already have it. And maybe that's exactly what they're trying to say. Maybe they're trying to say that the feeling of having it is the vibration. So you have to vibrate there in order to bring it in. But I think that I'm thinking of something different, you guys. And I think I'm just struggling with the words to describe it. But it's almost like, let me think. It's like you have to be properly vibrating in order to vibrate it into you. God, it's so hard to explain, man. I, okay, I'll try to do an example, but I'll just say in advance that I don't think it's very good. But this is just me trying. Okay, so let's say that I want to become a more organized person, right? But everything's disorganized. The car, the house, everything is like in disarray, right? But I really, really want to be an organized person. So I try the first half of the law of attraction, which is visualizing myself organized, picturing what that would look like, um, doing all the things that they teach or whatever. But I think what I'm trying to say is, like, if I'm disorganized, I'm vibrating in a disorganized energy. So it's like I have to first get into an organized energy in order to bring the organization to me. I don't know, y'all. Yeah, like properly tuned. Exactly. Like, man, girl, you got to work on your vocabulary and your articulation because you got to do better. Even though y'all say that you're getting it. Ugh. I wish I had a better example. Man, I wish I had another example to give you. But it sounds like you all understand what I'm trying to communicate to you. And maybe it's exactly what they've been saying all along. Like you have to picture it, you have to visualize it, you have to act it out. Maybe that's exactly what they're saying. You have to get into that vibration. But I swear I'm trying to say something different to you. Okay, let me try again. Let me try one more. So let's say that you live in a city where pretty much everyone is kind of vibrating kind of low. We won't call them low lives. We'll just say they're vibrating kind of low, right? And maybe even your family is vibrating kind of low. But you want, and maybe even you are vibrating kind of low because that's the environment that you're in. But you really, really, really want better for yourself. There's something in you that wants to be better, do better, vibrate a little higher, right? So the first thing that you do, or the first thing that you did, is you purged your let's say you live with your parents still. Let's say you're like 18, 19, getting ready to like spread your wings and fly away. The first thing you do is purge your bedroom. So you throw away old things. You get rid of old shoes, old clothes, papers. Like the very first thing you did is purge your bedroom. So in this sea of low energy, you have one high vibrating place, which is now your bedroom. So what I mean is that that has now kickstarted the process, is kind of what I'm trying to say. Yeah, it says the chat says resonance. That's what we need to expand to connect to the larger energy field. Right. It's like something has to kickstart the process of the vibration. Ah, oh, I feel sad for myself because I can't put it into words, but I know what I mean, man. Like, I know what I'm trying to say. Like, mm, I see it, I feel it, I know what I'm trying to say, but I just can't get it out. Right, like aligning yourself with the vibration you want first before you can vibrate the other things into you. You know what I mean? Um, I'll have to work on this some more. And if I am able to come up with a better explanation for you guys, I will. I'm thankful to those of you who are getting it. Perhaps I'm telepathing to you, I'm vibrating to you what I'm trying to explain. It's like it's very similar to what they've already told us in the law of attraction, but I swear it's different what I'm trying to say. It's like something that has to happen first before you can even do those things. So sometimes describing what it isn't helps. Okay, let me see if I can do that. So I'll put it like this, it's more than just visualizing it. Um, mm, I can't. I'll work on it, you guys. I promise. I perhaps setting the intention, maybe. I don't know. I'll work on it some more, but it has a lot to do with this, I think. So, like, or maybe this is what I'm trying to say. Perhaps this is what I'm trying to say. Maybe what I'm trying to say is before you can, I think this is what I'm trying to say. Before you can actually attract anything, you have to kind of create the vibration for it. So you kind of have to start this rocking process, kind of, sort of. So the rocking of the cans, I mean, though. So let me back it up just a little bit. You see how the cans that they're sitting on are gently rocking back and forth? And that's causing the platform to rock, and that's causing the metronomes to rock. I think what I'm saying is you almost have to create that rhythm first before you can bring in what you're trying to vibrate to you. Yeah, like double dutch. Exactly. It does feel like a riddle, doesn't it? It's like you have to create this rhythm first. So I'll try one more example and then I'll give up. So I think I shared with you guys already how, like last year, 2020, I really cooked more than I had ever cooked before in my life for many reasons. One, the world was shutting down. Two, I found a really good cook online and was doing her recipes. Three, I had the tools to do it. Like there's a lot of different reasons, but I started to cook because I started to create the rhythm for it, if that makes sense. So I did it once and that was good. Then I did it again and that was good. Did it again. That was good. So it's like I kind of rocked it into my life. Yeah, you have to get into the rhythm. Exactly. Like I rocked the habit into my life versus just like doing it. Like, okay, now I cook. Not really. It didn't happen like that. It's like it rocked itself gently into my life. And that's the best I can do. That's the easiest way that I can explain it to you. It was something that was gradual and it was a gentle rocking until it became part of my rhythm. And now that it is, I feel like I'm so much more easily able. Like I attracted what is this thing called? An Instant Pot. I didn't attract it, I bought it. But I mean, 2 years ago, I wouldn't have bought an Instant Pot for what? You know what I mean? But now I have one because this vibration and rhythm of food and cooking. And then to me, even along those lines, would be like the little fruits and vegetables that I grew. Like I grew a couple of little tomatoes and I grew two little watermelons. And to me, that's part of this overall rhythm that has been created. So I'll have to meditate on that some more, but hopefully that makes enough sense for you guys to go off and meditate on it yourselves. Okay. Miss Blondie says, I'm on my new Benz vibration right now. Right, right, right. So, see, maybe to bring in the new Benz, what you do is clean out your current car, like clean it out, make it smell real good. and like really get into the rhythm of good car. I I wish I could explain it. So that's kind of on the positive side of things, but I think that it can also work on the negative side of things in that, again, if we spend too much time around negative things, people, circumstances, jobs, whatever, it can slowly rock us into that till it will take a whole lot of rocking, perhaps in the form of an exorcism, to snap you out of it. Do you see what I mean? Oh, it's so deep. Oh, yes, the light bugs. I forgot about this part. So you see how the light bugs are flashing? According to them, and I tried to watch this because I get light bugs where I am. They're all gone now, but I watch them. They're so fascinating to watch. But they claim that the light bugs sync up, you guys. They say that the light bugs eventually start flashing all at the same pattern. Now, again, I've tried to observe this myself. It's really hard to say, honestly. It really is hard to say if they're all going at the same time. But, I believe them. I believe it's possible that they can all sync up like they're trying to show you on the screen right now. So again, that speaks to kind of this webbing and this netting between us, and that it's very important to make sure you net up and web up with people whom you want to be like. Because if you don't, now I suppose it could work in reverse where they start to become more like you. Like, I guess it's all who has the stronger rock. Do you have the stronger rocking, or do they have the stronger rocking? Because I suppose it could absolutely work in the opposite direction where they start to become more like you. But what I believe personally is that if that's the case, like let's say they start to become more like you, if you guys ever separate, then they will go back to being themselves. So to me, this is why it might be hard to know whether a friendship is true and real until a friendship has gone through some things. Like a friendship needs to go through distance. Like y'all don't live in the same city and state anymore. A friendship needs to go through some type of trauma and tragedy. I hate to say it, but it's true. Because you need to see how people perform under great and extreme stress. A friendship needs to go through major good things and life milestones like babies being born, marriages, things like that. To me, that's the only way you could really truly know if you have a good friend, because how do you know you all just aren't rocking together? And then as soon as you're no longer together, as soon as you no longer live in the same city, state, apartment, zip code, you all are no longer friends. Well, that's a great sign that all that had really happened is y'all just got synced up. That's it. And you just started rocking together until you got separated. You were connected by something. So the truest test to me is when you're disconnected, no longer on the same ground, then what happens? Does the friendship hold, or does it fall apart instantly? It's not necessarily saying there is anything malicious behind that. It's just saying that y'all happen to become friends because there was something shared between you. Same house, same street, same workplace, same school. Something was shared between you. And as a result, you started syncing up and rocking together. That's all. And then it just happened to gently fall apart when you were no longer on the same surface, you see? Perhaps this is perhaps this is why you hear reports of when spouses go out of town, one spouse or the other. They basically wild out, like they go crazy wherever they go. Work trip, doesn't matter, church trip, work trip, visiting family at home, out of state, doesn't matter. As soon as they separate from their spouse, they become a different person because they're no longer in sync with each other. Like the spouses that are truly in love never really fall out of sync because they're connected at a psychological level. They're connected at a mental level. And to me, now this is just me talking, and honestly, really me talking for myself. But people that I truly love, I really don't have to see them that much. Well, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase. People who I'm not romantically involved with, who I love, I really don't have to see them. I don't feel the need to see them that often because I love them at a psychological level. So I don't really love them at the physical level. Of course, I love them. I love their body. I want them to be here. I want to hug them. I love their face. But my love is at a psychological level. So I really don't have to see you all the time. Now, some of them like that, and some of them do not like that because some of them want to see me. But I don't need to, like, your presence is not what makes me love you. You see what I mean? It's not your actual presence that makes me love you. My love for you is psychological. So that could be a whole nother show, separate conversation. It just might be. Y'all let me know if you're interested. But to me, the spouses and partners and friends that are connected psychologically are the ones who don't fall out of sync when they're no longer in each other's presence. The ones who are connected physically and in every other way, you know, they fall out of sync as soon as they're no longer on the same surface. Right. So, yeah. So you guys, that's pretty much it. Like that's all the thoughts that I had regarding this. I thought this is very interesting. I'll drop this link for you one more time so you can watch the whole video if you want to. How did the well, I guess I won't know till playback. I was going to ask, how did the white noise machine in the back work? This is what it sounded like, or should have sounded like, when the video was playing. So I'll just let that go for a second because I just want to see on playback what it sounds like. But yeah. So that's pretty much it, you guys. That is pretty much it. So again, just to recap, the first part of the show was just looking at a really cool simulation from the Surfside. Well, not cool. It's not cool that it collapsed, but my husband made it. My future husband made that. And I wanted to show you what my future husband made and discuss these residents who are very eager to get their beachfront property back and how that connects to the conspiracy theory that this building was dropped in order to avoid paying $15 million in special assessments. So there's that. And then the second part of this show was me sharing with you a video that I found on YouTube that was talking about the hows and the whys behind why things like metronomes sync up. I'm trying to find an overlay here. 1 second, please. Where'd you go? Here you are. Boom. Open. Perfect. Why things like metronomes and light bugs and clocks. Oh, how could I leave this one out? Sorry to the gentlemen listening, but this is real life. But women sync up. So women's menstrual cycles sync up when we start to spend too much time with each other. And it is so annoying. Let me tell you, it is very, very irritating because literally your body starts to grab on to their menstrual cycles. And it's not long before all the women are going at the same time. I can attest to it. I don't know if any other woman in the chat has experienced this before. But literally, and the reason it's annoying is because you could have just gotten finished, but if your body is starting to sync up with your friends or coworkers or whoever, like you'll restart like 3 or 4 days later. And it's like, whoa, hold up. We were done. What are you doing? And you start to discover that what your body is, maybe not 3 or 4 days later. It might come like a week earlier, though. It might come 1 week earlier than you expected. And you're like, would you stop syncing up with everyone around you? What are you doing? But it does every time. Every time. I don't know how long it takes. Maybe like 30 days, but eventually the women sync up with each other. So that's not what the whole show was about. The whole show was about the synchronicity, how it happens, why it happens. It seems to have something to do with a shared surface. Sharing a surface with something causes you to share the vibrations of it and share the rhythm of it. And eventually you all start rocking together. Okay. I think a very interesting way to test this would be to test people who are like on an island that the land does not connect to the seabed. So it's literally an island, like literally floating, because their vibrations have to be different because they're not connected to the primary landmass. Maybe it's why everyone in America is crazy, because we're all on the North American continent. So we are all connected via vibrations and rhythms to the North American continent. And maybe it's got some psychotic rhythms going out right now. I don't know. But that's what the second half of the show was about: metronomes, how they sync up, and they do it every time. And it doesn't matter how many of them there are. So I don't know. I think the subject is fascinating. I'm going to look more into it, see if there's anything out there that better explains what I was trying to say earlier. But hopefully, you all found this interesting and, something to meditate on into the weekend, right? So, some of you may have kids. This is why you don't want your kids hanging out with some of their friends, because they start to vibrate along with their friends. So, but it is definitely something to think about, you guys. But I had fun catching up with you over here on a deeper PTE. We will definitely catch up again very, very soon, probably on Permission to Exist. But you never know, maybe over here as well. But I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And we will talk again very, very soon, okay? Bye.